The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you today from Marin County, California, Michael Milano. Michael is a realtor with Own Marin, and he's here to talk about Marin County and all the wonderful things they have to offer. Welcome to the show, Michael. How are you?
Tim, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So weather's still great out there, I assume.
It's 74 degrees out here today.
Yeah, nice. You're actually getting a little bit of fall kicking in, huh?
There are leaves falling, so
Wow.
that's about as fall as it gets here. That we don't really have too much drastic seasonal changes, but leaves are falling, so we got that.
There you go. Well, who needs it with those views out there? So, Michael, why don't we just start at the beginning? Tell us your story. How'd you get to where you are now? How'd you start out in real estate? Is it your first career, or did you pivot from somewhere else?
When I was in college, I was interning in what I had decided was my first career, which was in television.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in sports production for the CBS affiliate in San Francisco. I went to San Francisco State. And it was really cool. I had a media pass. I could go on the field in the locker rooms, in the press box. And I thought that was so cool. But about 8 months into that internship, I really started to take a look at people that had made careers of it. And they were extremely unhealthy, unhappy people. And then of course I wanted to reverse engineer the why are they that way? And they were working the worst hours possible, midday to midnight.
Yeah.
Never saw their families, never really had much of a life outside of work. And that's not something that I wanted for myself. So about a year into that, I scrapped it and I started studying for my real estate license. And when I was studying for my real estate license, the market was crazy. Like all my friends that were in mortgage or real estate were just making tons of money. And of course, that's part of the draw to real estate. Like,
sure.
We want to make as much money as we can. But it was more for me, one of my most favorite jobs before the television job was a sales job. And the appeal to it was always setting your own schedule, really getting what you put into it, and kind of setting your own pay scale, if you will. When you work really hard, you're rewarded for it, instead of like, I can work an hourly job and doesn't matter how hard I work or like I'm still getting the same amount per hour. That never really appealed to me. So when I got my real estate license, it was in 2006, and I started working full-time in about July of 2007. And that was right before the whole market economy, real estate world tanked. But I was lucky enough to work as an assistant at the time for my stepfather. He's still in the business. He's been in the business longer than I've been alive. And he had been through downturns, had long, deep roots established with banks. And so as the REO business came up, he was getting the lion's share of the listings in our marketplace.
Wow.
And they spanned throughout the whole county. And it really shrunk the broker community down quickly for me, because I did all of the stuff he didn't want to do. And that was almost all of the pre-marketing work. So figuring out if the home was occupied, to getting estimates for the work that needed to be done, to making sure that we all of the monthly marketing reports and the broker price opinions and everything that goes into an REO was done. And that really kept me busy. The first 4 years, starting in 2008, I should say, the least amount of deals we did was like 83. So, and I had my hand in all of them in some way, shape, or form. And so it was invaluable experience. Like, I didn't get into a bad market and wasn't busy. If I was like a regular non-assistant, just got my license, trying to figure out what I'm going to do,
Right.
I'd still be doing this. But I'm stubborn enough to just maybe like convince myself I would have. But yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have had that experience.
Yeah.
As the market started to turn, I kind of was tired of doing like the grunt work for someone else. That's not why I got my real estate license. That's not, I was still kind of working an hourly wage job. And so I took the leap of faith and started to do my own thing around 2012, 2013.
Wow. That's fantastic, man. I mean, that's obviously talk to a lot of agents, a lot of different places across the United States, and there's always seems to be this certain point where they do pivot from that first career job that they had, where the allure, and like you said, money's part of it, obviously, being able to make your own hours though, and your own schedule, and pick the times that you want to spend with your family, and having that foresight, to be able to make that change is always a great lure to being in the real estate market. So tell me about kind of where you are now. Let's talk about Marin County. What's, besides the natural beauties of Marin County, what's the draw to Marin County, and kind of like how is your business working now?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what or where Marin County is, that's the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge, opposite of San Francisco. So it's the county on the other side. And I was lucky enough to grow up in this county. And I'm third generation in the town that I live in now, and I have kids now, so they're the fourth generation. And if you can stay here, what I have found is most people do. But what makes Marin unique is we're kind of situated between San Francisco and wine country.
Right.
And it's a 3-hour ride up to Lake Tahoe. So there's a lot of really amazing perks to living here. And it's a no growth area. So they aren't building new homes here. What's here is what's here. So the inventory is kind of protected by that. And the other factor that kind of keeps our values high it's the oldest county per capita in the whole state of California.
Say that one more time.
It's the oldest county per capita in the state of California.
Wow.
And so many people have owned their homes forever. They are living in really beautiful homes that have appreciated exponentially, and they look at, where would I go that's better than here, and
right,
and as affordable? And the answer is no. And how expensive it has gotten from when they bought to now. Some of the only ways that their kids can stay in this county is if they inherit these homes and these tax bases and
right.
like the monthly thing. So that keeps our inventory tight. And then we have a lot of the professionals from San Francisco who naturally like meet their spouses and want to start families. one of those right over the bridge spots
Right.
that's exciting and appealing. So it's an interesting place to sell real estate for sure. It's tight. It's a very competitive market. There's over 1,300 realtors. I'm a director on the board of realtors locally. And there's all kinds of like I don't even know. Like there seems like there's more realtors than there are for people that we can serve.
Right.
But yeah, Marin's something else. Like we have like West Marin, which has like ranches and sprawling properties and coastal towns, and then more like of the main part of Marin, it's made of smaller towns up and down Highway 101. And the closer you get to the San Francisco, the more expensive properties get.
Right.
Yeah, depending on what you're looking for, it's easy to find here. It's as long as you can afford it. That's
Right.
the key.
That's always the kicker, though, right? It's pretty much anywhere. It just is. It's different areas have different pockets and different price ranges. Let me ask you about this. How many listings? You're talking about it's pretty tight, right? And you were talking about 1,300 agents in Marin County. So what is that? Not just and if you want to bring it, if you want to mention it, how many listings would you actually? Are you more of a buyer agent or a listing agent?
I've always been a pretty balanced agent. Right now, I'm a little listing heavy. Don't
Okay.
have too many buyers that are, I would say, motivated in the market. The whole rate hike and all
Yeah.
this, the stuff that's happened has taken some of the wind out of their sails. Right now, I'm carrying 6 active listings, and I'm working on 2 that I'm getting ready for the market. And unlike the beginning of the year and really the first half, you put listings on and they would be gone
Right.
immediately. Things are finally starting to kind of sit a little bit longer. Although I have one that I put on last Friday and I had 5 offers. So
Wow.
it's like everything. Locally, it's a case-to-case basis. You can't do a one-size-fits-all in our county.
Yeah.
But I have noticed much more impact on our market, just with rates rising and people kind of doing the wait and see.
Right. So how does that change the wait and see and you're holding listings a little bit longer? How does that change your marketing of the property? I've been around real estate since 92. So, much like your father, probably, you've seen, all the different ups and downs. But how is that just over the past year and a half that's been so crazy? And, a lot of times not being able to show a home, but still being a hot market, which was a conundrum in itself, or exciting, I would say. So now what's the difference in how you market a home? How has that changed?
I don't think it changes how I market a home. It's
Okay.
mostly managing expectations. A seller looking at comps and timelines from March, April, May,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't apply right now.
Right.
And looking at last year's market as a whole, like that was an anomaly.
Sure.
So it's just reminding them of a historical thumbnail sketch more than anything, and buyers as well. Like, I mean, as buyers, the buyers in our marketplace have had 0 leverage for the last couple of years.
For sure.
It's been so competitive and so aggressive. For them to have a chance, they would have to double down on the best offer they could make just to have a shot. Now it's a little bit more of a level playing field, sellers are going to sell, buyers are going to buy in any market. It's
Right.
just counseling them for the here and now, like what's going to make your offer attractive, what a good offer looks like to a seller in this market. And the answer is almost any offer,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's not like it was.
Yeah.
So I think it's really a matter of managing expectations, um, and the more you can do that up front, the better you're setting yourself up for success. But people, have to understand that even in this market with rates rising, our values are still going to be appreciating. It's still
Right.
like a bulletproof investment locally to own real estate. It's a huge pillar to your long-term wealth. All of the things that really go into why buying is a good idea
Hmm.
are still in play, um, and it's just helping people see through all of the national news. And the national news also isn't really super relevant to where we're at, just because of the dynamics that I explained to you. We're not like, we don't have hundreds of homes being built where the builders
Right.
can kind of be sweating it out.
Right.
Uh, and that market kind of watering down the rest of it. It's still very well insulated, um, competitive, not a ton to choose from. So if prices come down to kind of level out how expensive it is to buy a home now, it's not going to be so significant that they're having their equity.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. So we talked about how you got started in the industry, and then we kind of talked about what's going on now. So let's
Mhm.
talk about the future a little bit. Let's put on our prognostication hats and figure out what do you see the next year for yourself. Maybe not necessarily the real estate market, but how is Michael going to grow? And what's his blueprint for the next 12 months?
I have 4 kids, so my
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they span from 8 to 10 months.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I have a podcast called the Guys with Four Kids Club.
Oh man, sign
Yeah,
me up.
yeah, it's because I have four as well, and
All
they're all
right.
and mine are all boys. And every time I had to bring it up to you because every time I have someone on and they'll go, I got 4 kids, and I'm like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful experience.
It,
Mine are all 22 to 29.
all
So,
right.
they're stacked that close, much, kind of like yours. But yeah, wonderful experience. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's good stuff.
So
But I always
yeah,
thought I'm gonna start a podcast for dads.
keep on that short list. Keep,
Right?
I'm game for that.
There you go.
Like, I could have benefited from that. I still can, but it's crazy. So like, it helps me stay focused on what's important. Like like, what's funny is, before kids, work was stressful,
Yeah.
and now with kids, work's where I go and relax.
Right.
Like, you want to talk about negotiating, try negotiating with a hungry 3-year-old.
Right.
uh,
Who can't have cookies for dinner?
Yeah, you think someone's impossible, try having them put their shoes on. It's really provided perspective on, what's really important, what's really difficult, and all that. I recently hired an assistant to kind of shore up my administrative work. With the nature of what we do, you get so wrapped up into a transaction, just moving the needle on everything else is hard to do at the same time,
Right.
because it is the biggest transaction of people's lives, and you have to honor that and give them that honor and attention and care. So, but what goes on in the background is, my am I running my business like a business? And many years of what I've done, it didn't look like that.
Yeah.
So in the next 12 months, shoot, if it looks like the last 1 month that I've had my assist on board, it's going to be a lot more organized, a lot
Nice.
less chaotic, scalable. And, I feel a responsibility to get in front of as many people as I can that are ready to be helped, and so that's what the next 12 months are going to look like, trying to find those people. And if they decide that I'm the person that is right for them, I'll be ready to rock and roll. But I'm not really a salesy agent.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in empowering people with really good information so they can make the best decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't really care about what house people buy until they care first, and then I care. And that kind of approach has really served me well in attracting the types of people that I naturally will attract anyway. And it's really helped my referral business grow. But a lot of people are going to look at their agents for, what do we do? This market is scary, and all this news is this and that. I've been through it. I got in it right when like one of the worst markets that ever happened started. So there's comfort in that. I'm not worried about whatever it's going to look like. I know that I can be a calming presence in a stressful situation for people. I can advise them with some experience to lean on, and I am constantly working on my craft to make sure that I'm on top of what's happening, what's here and now, whether that's in coaching that I'm in, networking with other agents in different parts of my county. I live and breathe real estate when I'm at work, and then when I'm not, I live and breathe my family.
Nice.
So in the next 12 months, it's going to look like that. That's kind of
That's fair enough. Yeah.
got time.
Yeah. There's no time for anything else.
No.
It's interesting. You were saying, people have a lot of fears. They come to you, they have a lot of fears, and the news is telling them this, and their thinking is that. And I always kind of think to them, are you predicating moving here based on anything the news is telling you? I mean, is that why you're moving to West Palm Beach, right? I mean, because the news told you to. Well, this is the same thing. I mean, there's always going to be news. It's just how we maneuver and work around things that are going on. I don't think anybody moves to Marin County because interest rates dropped half a basis point. I mean, that wouldn't matter. That doesn't go into the equation. So therefore, in the inverse, it's the same thing. If interest rates come up half a basis point, so what? You're still moving to Marin County. You still want to live here, or whatever the case may be. You have to sell that home because whatever. But I think that's good advice on your part. Let's just find a way to maneuver around things and work through it. And good counseling instead of like a salesy approach. Just good counseling, and I think that's what it's about. So good stuff. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, Michael, what's the best way to reach you?
Call or email. Call, text, email. My email is michael@ownmarin.com, and my Michael is Michael. My dad still spells it wrong, so that's why I spell it out. At own, OWN, Marin, MARIN.com. And then my personal number is 415-246-6868.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, thanks so much for being on the show today. We're kind of winding down. I do this with every guest. I want to kind of give them the last say. And if there's anything you want that we didn't cover or that we missed or something you just really feel passionate about, now's the time.
Yeah. So I think that as realtors, we owe it to ourselves to invest in ourselves and our improvement. So, people that are tuned into your podcast are probably in the early stages of that or on the ongoing stages of that. And there's no magic bullet. You got to kind of figure out what you are good at, what comes easy to you, and really zero in on that. I've done all things you can think of in my career, like internet leads, door knocking, cold calling. And while there are people that are good at it and swear by it, that wasn't what was for me. And once I found that, where I was best at working my own database, asking for business, deepening important relationships and really pouring into that, is when my business felt wholesome and awesome. So don't be chasing the shiny object. Like, everybody has more than enough people that they know that can really help their business grow. And my advice is to just hunker down on that.
Nice. Good advice, man. Well, I'd definitely love to catch up with you, 6, 8 months down the road, see how things are going, and hope continued success for you, Michael.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. You have a good one.
You too.
All right.